Hey fam, so I get asked all the time how I film my Vespa ride. So today I thought I'd share with you my full tech setup. I'm going to include cameras, specific mounts, and go into audio as well. So for those of you who are interested in doing something like this, I hope you find this helpful. I have definitely made a lot of mistakes, so hopefully you can bypass some of those things, and I will show you how I make this work. Thanks for watching. So the most critical piece of equipment that I use is my Insta360 X5. So this is a 360 camera made by Insta360. It is really one of the very best cameras you can get for these purposes. So this 360 camera is their latest model, I believe. One of the things that makes this one stand out compared to other ones is it has replaceable lenses. So if there's any kind of accident, you don't have to replace the whole camera. You can just replace certain lenses. Basically, the way 360 cameras work is you'll see that on both sides, there are these fisheye lenses. And so what these do is they take slightly more than 180 degrees of footage in all at once. And what they do is they overlap just slightly. So if you have a stick coming out the bottom of it, a mount or any kind of selfie stick, it actually makes that vanish. So it gives you this impression of drone footage without actually having to mess with the drone. The technology I just think is amazing. It's so much fun to use. So the tricky part with this is you're taking 360 footage. So as I'm riding down the road, it's taking footage in all directions. Later, I need to go into the Insta360 program on my computer and figure out which part of the scene that I want to clip out in order to put it in my video. So it's really easy to get footage on here. It's nice that you don't have to worry about missing something because you know it's taking in everything all at once. But it does take a little time in the kind of post-filming to put all that together. But I love, love, love this tool. It also has fantastic stabilization. So my early videos, I used kind of a knockoff GoPro camera that you can tell when I put it on myself, it was just jiggling like crazy. So for those of you who have stuck with me since those really poor videos, thank you so much. I really hope you've seen some improvement. But the stabilization on an Insta360 camera is amazing because this thing is bouncing around like crazy when I ride, but when you watch the footage, it's just super smooth. So I love the 360 camera. This is the camera that gives that perspective, like there's a drone kind of off to the side and I'm riding. The other thing that this does is it pairs with the mics that I use. It also has a dual audio input, so I can have a mic going as well as pick up some of the wind and road noise to give it kind of that authentic on the ride sort of experience. So this, if I only bring one camera, this is the one I bring. This is not the first camera I got, but really, I wish it was. I think I would have bypassed a lot of headache. So that's the first thing, the Insta360 X5. So the second camera that I use is the Insta360 GO Ultra. So what I like about this camera is this is the one I use when I want to get point of view footage. So what's really nice about this is it has a viewfinder screen in the back. It also flips up. So many times when I'm kind of setting up a shot where I'm sitting in my garage, it gives me a nice wide angle shot and I can actually see up here exactly what it looks like, which is great. So when I'm on a ride, what's really nice is this little camera part comes off. So this is now separate from the camera part. And this can be this has a really strong magnet on it, so I can actually stick this camera right on the steel body of the Vespa and I can get some interesting perspective shots on a ride using this. What I typically do though is I use it for point of view shots. So I set it up, and I'll show you how I mount it in a little bit. I set it up kind of around my chest, and then there's a really easy button you can use to just kind of turn it off and on as you want. It doesn't have to run constantly. And typically what I do is I get it set up and I angle it a certain way, and then I can look at this to see exactly if I'm getting what I want. So if I like it when there's, you can see the handlebars a little bit, you kind of have that picture of the dash, as well as the road and through the windshield. This is kind of what I use for a point of view camera. It's also what I use when I kind of get off my Vespa and I'm walking around. I usually just have this on a magnetic neck mount. So you kind of are getting the perspective of what I'm seeing as I walk around. But this is the second one I use mostly for point of view footage, but also for some interesting shots when I have it magnetized on the side of the Vespa. It also has some great stabilization. It is it's small, it's really discreet. I actually started with this camera. I do like this one a lot. If I were to go back, I would have gotten an Insta360 first and added this later. So those are my two main cameras that I use. Now I want to go into mounts. Now when it comes to mounts, there are two main mounts that I use. What I use on the ride is this neck mount, okay? So this neck mount I find works the best for point of view footage. I love that it kind of opens and closes. It locks really tightly. Now it came with a specific kind of GoPro clamp on it, and I bought something specific that would fit with the camera pod for my GO Ultra. Now, so it clips on here and it is super tight, so it won't come off, it won't come undone as long as you have the clamps in there. Once again, when I have it set up, I use the camera part to make sure that I have the shot that I want, and I'm able to just kind of reach down and turn it off and turn it on as needed. I usually do not have point of view footage running the whole time because that's not where I get my audio. My audio is almost always coming through from the 360 camera, so the point of view footage is typically just B-roll that I kind of pepper in throughout. So this is what I like to use. What I have found that I don't like to use is a helmet mount. Now I know a lot of people like helmet mounts. I had one that I put on the bottom of my helmet. I think I'm just too hyper when I ride. I feel like I move my head around like crazy, and it was just dizzying to have to watch all the bouncing around. So I have found that having it kind of stable right around, like under my chin, by my neck, chest height, has been a lot better as far as smooth footage goes. What you miss, of course, when it's not on the helmet is the turning of your head if you want to look at something, but that's where that 360 camera comes in. It'll pick up the things that maybe the point of view camera doesn't pick up. So I love this neck mount and then this clip accessory. I think that this is super helpful, and it's what I prefer to use specifically with my GO Ultra camera for point of view footage. This thing, which I admit looks like a medieval torture device, is my very, very favorite mount for using my 360 camera on it. So here's what I love about this mount. It has two clamps specifically to keep this selfie stick. I think they still call it a selfie stick even though I'm not holding it, to keep this kind of mount on there. They have two different points of contact. 360 cameras are not cheap. I certainly don't want one to fall off as I ride, so having these two clamps gives just a lot of support and stability, and I don't worry about it quite as much. The other thing I love is just the flexibility. There's lots of different knobs that you turn, and you can turn it in lots of different directions, which gives you all kinds of options as far as the angles that you choose coming off your Vespa. So I typically use the front rack, and you can see it in some of my footage. The stick itself gets erased with the 360 footage, but you can see the clamps on there. I'm guessing some of you have noticed that, but I think it's well worth it to just have that strong support on there. I typically put it on the front rack, but you can also use kind of the crash bars or other areas of your bike. Now, if you don't have additional racks and things like that, you might have a hard time finding 2 points to put it on, so that's definitely something to consider. But to me, this has the most flexibility and strength, and I just trust it. I trust my camera on this. It has this telescoping stick on it, so you have lots of options as far as how far out it goes. I have not yet had a problem with it running into anything. I try to keep it somewhat of a manageable length. The other thing is when I stop, I can sometimes reach out and kind of stop the camera if I'm done getting footage for that particular shot. So I have loved using this. This to me has been the secret weapon. I've experimented with lots of different angles and putting it out in different ways, and I love using this. So there's a link below. I got this off Amazon. It's not a major brand, but I have found it to be super helpful. I'm really glad I have it. It keeps my camera secure and safe and gives me lots of options for angles. So of everything I have learned when it comes to making videos, the thing that I still have the hardest time with is audio. And some of you have noticed that as well. Again, thank you for those of you who have bared with me through some pretty poor audio. Still definitely learning. What I opted to get was the DJI Mic Mini. For one, DJI has just a great reputation. I also think the size of it is perfect for my purposes. So I'm able to sync one of the two Mic Minis with my Insta360 camera. And what I do when I'm on a ride is I actually stick it inside kind of the chin cover part of my helmet. I sort of put it off to the side. Now it's difficult. I have found it's very difficult to get clean audio when you're on a ride. There's just a lot of noise, but I think the DJI probably does best. For me, I definitely think there's still room for improvement. I'm playing with different settings and trying to get better with that, but I do think at least for now, you can hear me and what I'm saying makes sense. Now, what I have is a very basic setup for this. What I did was I just took little Velcro tabs and I put kind of the one on this side and then the opposite one inside my helmet. So what I do is I put my helmet on and then I reach inside and I kind of stick it off to the side. If it's right in front, it really gets distorted. If I move it off to the side, the sound tends to be a little bit better. So this is what I use for recording my voice. Again, I have done videos in the past where it was really just my voice and music, and it really was lacking because you couldn't actually hear the motor of the Vespa, you couldn't hear the road. So I like to try to do a mix now where you still get that road noise, you still get a little of that background music, and of course I want to be understandable when I speak. So I have found the DJI Mic Mini probably to be the most helpful in this regard. I have not played with other mics. Mics can be very expensive. This one wasn't cheap. So I want to really try to make this one work for as long as possible. But this is what I use inside my helmet, synced with my Insta360 camera as I go on the rides. So that's my audio setup. So in light of all of this, I want to share one very, very important thing. Make sure that if you decide you want to start recording your rides, that you have a good amount of confidence and experience just as a rider, because you don't want to be at all distracted when you're out there on the road with cameras, microphones, all that kind of stuff. You don't want to be distracted by that. You want to make sure your priority is being safe as you ride. So if you think these things are going to be a distraction or you don't think you're ready, you're much better off just putting those things off and not worrying about recording your rides, just becoming a better rider as you go. So make sure you are not sacrificing your attention to any of these other things, because that would be super dangerous. So if you enjoyed this content, please give me a like, please subscribe. Links to these products are down below. Hopefully you found something that you might find useful. Feel free to click on any of those links and check them out. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.